I found an old digital camera of mine last night. From maybe 2004. Started to look like something like a palm-sized camcorder. It even had an LED flash for still photos, which at the time was a very cool feature. I hadn't seen it for some years, so I assumed it was probably broken. Nevertheless, I had some spare AA's lying around, so I switched the batteries out just to see. Lo and behold, the thing booted up again. So I laughed and went to bed to see what type of dumb shit I photographed before I went to bed to sleep for the night. It took a little fiddling around to figure out how all the buttons worked. All icons and no words, wouldn't you know? But eventually I managed to get into the stored photos. It was roughly what you expect from a camera owned by a 15-year-old girl. An embarrassing, friendly tea party. Birthday party I'd almost managed to completely repress. Bathroom mirror MySpace photos. School events I had smuggled the camera in for. That kind of junk. Then I hit a photo that was completely black. Oops. Glitch. Then I hit the next button, which was a photo of my computer room at the time. But the lighting was weird. It looked like a picture I'd taken with the LED flash, every other light out. I flicked through the next two photos, but they're all lit the same way, a bit from different angles. I racked my brain for a moment. Right. I had a vague recollection then of a night. My parents were both out for some work event. It had been stormy, the power had gone out, and I had tried to navigate where the candles were and such. I hadn't had a flashlight, so I'd take consecutive pictures at a random flash to let me see my way through the house. I laughed at that memory. Fucking Stone Ages, right? My smartphone has a flashlight now. It begins scrolling those midnight photos. Enjoying an opportunity to see a house I haven't lived in since 2011. Something caught my eye in the next photo, and I paused, bringing the camera closer to my face to get a better look. It looked like a man's shadow, just beyond the circle of light that the flash offered. I chalked it up to some weird lighting and then hit next. Except there it was again, now on the opposite side, scant inches closer. Next, closer. Next, closer. Now, mind, I was looking at these photos in the middle of the night myself. I've always been unnerved about being alone in the night, and my imagination has a tendency to run wild. I firmly reminded myself that this was, 1, in a different house from 11 years ago, and 2, that the weird shadows in the photos weren't a valid reason to get creeped out about. I went to the next photo and jumped. It was scarcely a foot away from the camera lens, close enough for me to see the whites of its eyes. And the shadow was grinning. And I was, naturally, the moment I decided to nope the fuck out. I closed my camera up and dropped it on the side of the bed. Hell no. I'd already freaked out myself by scrolling through Armor's No Sleep earlier that evening, and I was absolutely not going to look at more pictures of that smiley son of a bitch till daylight. I grabbed my phone off the bedstand table and turned the flashlight, scanning my room thoroughly before realizing that I was being ridiculous. Nothing was in my room. My hyperactive dog would have been barking if even anything had crossed the yard across the street. Ridiculous. I shut off the light and laid back down. The phone still in hand. Still, I was a little shaken by these photos. What the hell was that thing? What had it been in a house that night? Why hadn't I seen it? Surely I would have recalled seeing something grinning at me in the middle of the night, home, alone. Or wouldn't I? Something akin to dread was creeping up my throat. I lifted the phone again, opening up the camera. Pitch black. I pointed it around my bedroom. Face detection lit up on the screen, and I caught a glimpse of teeth in the dark.